Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Bellator fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting some of the key fights for Bellator 268, Nemkov versus Anglickas. So without further ado, let's get to the first fight on the card that I'll be predicting. So in the first fight that I'll be predicting, we have in the light heavyweight division, not heavyweight, light heavyweight division, Carl Albrechtsen versus Doblezan Yakshimuradov. So Doblezan Yakshimuradov. I'll never know if I'm pronouncing this guy's name right, but matter of fact, on Tabali, they just put a D. Like, we can't pronounce it, we can't even type it, so let's just put a D in there. So Doblezan Yakshimuradov. Computer can't even pronounce that name, but when I look at this fight right here, for some reason I see a lot of people high on Carl Albrechtsen, but I already look at the guy, I'm very disappointed, almost laughable. I mean, he ain't that bad, but striking kind of that bad, but yeah, going against Yakshimuradov. Carl Albrechtsen, for whatever reason, is the favorite right now. Probably a good margin. I don't get it. I guess because he beat Vadim Nemkov like in 2016, 2015, when his wrestling defense wasn't as good or where it is now. But yeah, outside that, Carl Albrechtsen really ain't got much to write home about himself. And Phil Davis obviously schooled the man. But yeah, his wrestling couldn't be a bit of an issue, but I definitely don't rate it all that high. I just kind of see him as almost a gimmick fighter at this point. Like he kind of a comedian like there. Good enough to stick around, good enough to pull some wins, but not good enough to really take him seriously within the division. Like, he could cut down the middleweight as big as he is. I mean, he can't cut down, but if he could, as big as he is, still wouldn't really make no waves at the middleweight division. Like, heavyweight division can't really make no waves. Go up to heavyweight, can't make no waves. The guy he just here. But either way, a guy without the most fleshed out striking, aggressive wrestler, but a derpy goofball on the feet. I feel like Yakshimuradov's wrestling defense is actually pretty solid. Very solid. Good footwork, good counters, good power, much more fleshed out striker. I feel like he'll be fight on the outside, stick and move, land counters on the goofy Albrechtsen, stumble him, and just really to school him out there. Stuff his takedowns, make him pay for it, make him pay for his sloppy striking on the feet. And I think he stops him in the second round. I just think it'll be his where he's gonna be walk him into counters, tagging him up, then start to walk him down, chew him up, spit him out, second round. And not have too much issue with his wrestling. I don't think he had too much issue with wrestling. Maybe it's a little bit of issue, but probably hold him to just one takedown, if any takedown. And then, like I said, start to materialize that stoppage, walk him the shots, pick him apart, and put him away in the second round. So in this fight, I have Doblezan Yakshimuradov via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, Henry Corrales versus Vladislav Parubchenko. Václav Parubchenko. Yeah, these names, they killing me. But Henry Corrales versus Václav. When I look at this one, Václav is a kind of really a one-dimensional wrestler. Like he works on his striking, or at least is not getting hit, or at least knowing enough that you could survive, that you could get a takedown. But his striking really ain't rateable. It's not rateable. Like some decent little technical cues on defense, this enough on the feet just to give you a look, and then dive for your nuts and go for the takedown. That's about it. I feel like Henry Corrales, prior to his last fight and prior to this recent stint where he started to decline a bit, or at least show some signs of decline, or at least look to be declining, had pretty solid, almost shutdown takedown defense, almost not complete, but like he wasn't really worried about. You're a one-dimensional wrestler. It'd be like, oh, Henry Corrales gonna win that fight. This guy a one-dimensional wrestler. He's gonna stop takedown, body this man up, be strong, fight strong man fighting. It's gonna stuff his takedown, walk him down, body him up, knock him out, or something, or at least beat him to a decision, like school him. But now it's kind of becoming questionable. But looking at Vladislav, if his pace was a little bit higher, I might lean to be like, I'm very questionable on Corrales at this given moment. But if Vladislav, or whatever his name is, Vladislav, baby Vladimir Klitschko, whatever his name may be, Vladislav, his pacing isn't the greatest. I mean, he has some decent wrestling. He can play a good pace, but it's not like where you were a wrestler, like got a one-dimensional fighter. Those one-dimensional fighters, like in this era, maybe in the past era, you could have these one-dimensional wrestlers who only got 3 takedowns in them. They need you where they could just be all tired and shoot a takedown and lay on you and stuff. But people's takedown defense is getting better now, so you can't just be out there slowing down. I mean, it's not that bad as it was like 10 years ago in MMA, where you had all these juiced up wrestlers, thriving. But it's his cardio's decent enough but he does have noticeable slowdowns points. And when he's not able to get that takedown, he becomes very hittable. And like he has to think about when we gonna shoot his next takedown or how he's gonna use his energy. Like he starts to have to look at his gas tank, step out his car, check the oil and all that stuff. Like he has to start to slow down and start to think. You can see it out. He starts to think, starts to slow down, starts to just walk, don't really walk and move sideways. Like it's like almost becomes offensiveless. Like he loses his offense because he had to regain himself or at least like try to conserve himself until he decides to go again. So definitely questionable thing in him. Like you can't keep that going. Like you can't constantly keep a pace, constantly like or the rest not going for you. Mix up some striking for a little bit and then like give it a minute or two and then go. But then flat out almost just go into stall mode. I don't like it. I feel like because Henry Corrales even declining. I feel like Henry Corrales should be able to address the wrestling. I feel like Flystyle will still make this a competitive fight. But I feel like those opportunities when he starts to slow down or start to telegraph, I feel like Corrales will be the stuff to take downs. Mix it to the body, mix it up top, start to, make him slow down even more. You go to the body, take away some of that gas out of that tank, steal some of that gas. And I just think he beats him to a decision. I think the case where take advantage of the slow points, stuff a couple of takedowns, and take advantage of the slow points. Walk down a tired Vladislav, land some harder shots, and beat him to a decision. So in this fight, I have Henry Corrales via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the lightweight division, Ben Henderson versus Brent Primus. So I see this one right here. Brent Primus is bigger. He's a truer welterweight. Ben Henderson, this is a lightweight. I'm saying truer welterweight. I don't know. Forget that. Forget I even said that. I'm not editing it out. Forget I said that. But Brent Primus is the bigger lightweight. But he's stiff and slow on the feet. Offensive takedown ability isn't that great. BJJ may be better, probably better, but I feel like Ben Henderson should have no issues with his grappling. Definitely had no issue with his striking. He does got some heavy leg kicks, heavy calf kicks, but Ben Henderson invented those basically. So what does Brent Primus really have on him besides size? I don't think like I said, offensive wrestling. I feel like Ben Henderson ain't got no issue with his offensive wrestling. Ben Henderson's defensive wrestling ain't bad either. So it's like Brent Primus' offensive wrestling ain't that great. And then Ben Henderson got some pretty solid wrestling defense. Feet, Primus is slow and stiff. So I think in this fight, I think Brent Henderson is going to use a lot of lateral motion, punch him in the knee, punch him in the body, do typical Ben Henderson tricks, come over the top, two-punch combination, two-punch blitz. No, this really just mixes up on Primus and it's like I said, use those lateral motions, bait the level, like high, low and stuff, like those knee touches, come over the top of overhands, switching the head kick. And that's really because Brent's going to be too smooth, too slick, and just a more well-rounded, more polished fighter and beat the stiffer, slower Brent Primus to a decision. So in this one, I have Ben Henderson via decision. Now to our co-main event, we have in the light heavyweight division, Ryan Bader versus Corey Anderson. So let's look at the little teletape first. So Corey Anderson is 6 years younger at 32 versus a 38-year-old Ryan Bader. So he has the youth advantage over him. Corey Anderson's like right in his prime, like really entering his prime. Ryan Bader's like exiting or has already exited his prime and still kind of riding on what he already has. So Ryan Bader didn't really get much better, whereas Corey Anderson, we might start to see a better version of Corey Anderson or the best version of Corey Anderson we'll see either now or in the near future within the next, 2-3 years or 1 to 3 years, something like that, before he kind of hits his decline. But I feel like Corey Anderson right now is getting better every single fight. Might not be the case that he has for the best competition, so you can't really say, oh, it's this and that, but the man's getting better, I feel, and he's in entering his MMA prime, or already is riding his MMA prime, and is on the incline right now. Not decline, but on incline, where Bader is on the decline. So 6 years younger, so he got the age advantage, 1 inch taller, got a height advantage, and a 6-inch reach advantage, so like a 78-inch reach versus 73-inch reach. And then they're both wrestlers. Ryan Bader, I would probably say, the better wrestler. But I feel like Corey Anderson can neutralize Ryan Bader's wrestling and can compete with him in wrestling, in MMA, also in probably wrestling. But either way, this MMA fight, I feel like they could cancel out each other's wrestling. On the feet, Ryan Bader has those explosive motions. Like he'll like kind of fake like a takedown and come with overhands. But most of his shots aren't really combination shots. He got a couple little combinations he likes to go to, but very limited. Most of his shots rely on the threat of a takedown, being explosive. So like you don't know if it's a takedown coming or a shot. And I don't feel like Corey Anderson is reactionary to his takedown, especially since they trained together for a good period of time at one point. So I feel like he's gonna know with Ryan Bader. Like Ryan Bader don't do a whole lot, but he's very effective at what he does as far as like the wrestling and the striking and blending those together and he got better over time over the years at disguising his power shots with his takedown. So definitely very dangerous there. But I feel like Corey Anderson's having trained with him, and also Bader kind of slowing down. And also, Corey Anderson being a high level wrestler himself, it's not going to be draw out those counters as much over Corey Anderson. They might have some other little insides on each other, but as far as at the base level, from people that don't really know what's went on behind the closed doors, I don't see Corey Anderson, like I said, biting on those feints as much, or really being as worried about his stuff as much. Now, I feel like both can push a high pace, but Corey Anderson probably has the highest pace of any light heavyweight at this given moment. The man don't get broken by machines, he breaks machines. So Corey Anderson always is in insane shape, always push a high pace. I think he has a much more fluid striking, much more fluid hands. I don't know why people might say he has questionable hands. I feel like his defense can be questionable, his chin can be questionable, but the man got some pretty solid hands on him. Very fluid. I like to say it. I think he's the fastest striker, but Bader is more explosive. Like Bader can handle explosive moments. Like, he can do that 40-yard dash motions, but Corey Anderson could run like a 500 with a 1500 or whatever and run at a pretty good speed where Bader would probably get, I'm saying he's not going to gas out. But he wouldn't even do it. But if he did try to do that, he would gas out. But as far as in general with his pace and his style and how he uses style, Bader still has good enough cardio to fight a good pace for like 5 rounds. But I feel like Corey Anderson's pace can be much higher, and he could do that for 5 rounds. Like he can fight at a higher pace and for longer. But both can maintain a good pace through as long as they need it for like a 3 or 5 round fight. And this will be a 5 round fight. So either way, I just think Corey Anderson is a much more fluid striker. I don't think he's going to react as much to Bader's takedowns or takedown attempts or his feints. And that's why like Corey Anderson will be able to use that length, use that jab, use that speed, mixing combinations. Catch a Bader, like I said, those explosive people, like they reach a lot. It's not like they don't follow behind with combinations. So a lot of times their hands don't return to their chin. So I feel like Corey Anderson be to find his way back to Bader's chin when Bader reaches with some of these big shots, be faster, be sharper. Might be a materialized stoppage. But I'm going to say decision. Corey Anderson really don't have that knockout ability. I feel like he can buzz Bader, might drop Bader, might hurt Bader. But it's going to be more so a case of where he's not able to get the finish, but I feel like he's going to show the best version of himself and really come in on this fight. I feel like he will beat Bader. And I feel like I said, he'll be the more fluid striker, more combinations, be to catch Bader reaching at times, come back on him, tag him, put 2, 3, 4 punch combinations together, end it off with kicks, end it off with jabs, be longer, be lanker, be more fluid, and beat Bader to a decision. I think also when he start tagging Bader, he might be able to score a takedown just to ice around. But competitive fight, all I'm saying that Anderson going to win, but still going to be a competitive fight. But I feel like Corey Anderson is really going to start to come through and show the best version of himself as the fight goes on. And his pace starts to break Bader. Bader can fight at like a good pace, but I feel like Corey Anderson's pace is just even crazy. So I feel like he'll be able to start to really put it on Bader as the fight goes on. Probably competitive through like the first 2, 3 rounds. Well, first 1 to 3 rounds, but in those 4th and 5th rounds, I feel like Corey Anderson really he's the same pace that really start to show through. And his fluidity and his little intricacies will start to show through in the fight against Bader, like I said, who really relies on these big motions or big explosive fast motions, whereas Corey Anderson is more subtle and more fluid. It will be able to start to shine through, especially in the later round. And that's where he'll start to truly break away and win this fight. So in this fight, I have Corey Anderson via decision. Now on to our main event, we have in the light heavyweight division, Vadim Nemkov versus Julius Anglickas for the Bellator Light Heavyweight Championship. So how I see this fight between these two right here is, I think Anglickas presents he don't present no real good challenge. He got good size, he got good strength, got good fundamentals, but he got some pretty light feet, but hand-wise, average speed, average combinations, average boxing, MMA boxing, but he's big, got some decent length on him, decent size. So I don't really feel like he brings much to Vadim Nemkov. Like he could present a good challenge, or he'll present a body in front of him. But I feel like with his style and his basic kind of boxing and flat-footedness at times, I feel like Vadim Nemkov is going to be blasting those leg kicks, breaking the leg down, then switching to the body, chopping it down like a street fighting tall man who likes to rely on the 1-2 and stuff, and kind of basic MMA striking. Like, it's not no high-level boxing or anything. It's MMA striking. MMA boxing, MMA striking. It ain't nothing really to write home about, but he got good size, decent takedown defense, and decent fundamentals for MMA. I wouldn't even call it boxing fundamentals. It's MMA boxing fundamentals. So kind of square with his boxing, but he'll stick that jab and you 1-2, 1-2, and like 1-1. But I won't say he won't double up the jab. So like very, very fundamental, very basic, but got size on him. That's really what I see with Anglickas. Nothing crazy about his power. This got size, decent fundamentals, decent takedown defense. And that caused a lot of issues for a couple people, but this is a huge step in competition. I feel like Nemkov, he wants he can score some takedowns on him. Probably will. But what I really see the fight happening is Nemkov battering that leg up, chopping down, going to the body, and then start to bring it up top. And I see Nemkov stopping him probably around the third round. Just chopping him down through the first couple rounds, really breaking him down. And then once he sees it, that gets him to the third round, looks to put him away and does put him away in that third round. So in this fight, I have Vadim Nemkov via third round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for some of the key fights for Bellator 268, Nemkov versus Anglickas. And as always, thanks for watching.